Have you ever stumbled upon something so seemingly ordinary that it turned out to be worth a fortune beyond your wildest imagination because hidden in the loose change in your pocket or that old jar of coins in your attic might lie a treasure worth millions? And one such story that has captivated the world of numismatics and collectors alike is the tale of the 1968 USA penny, a coin so rare and shrouded in mystery that its face value of just 1 cent pales in comparison to its estimated worth of up to $158 million, making it one of the most valuable coins in American history. And perhaps the most unbelievable part is how it managed to fly under the radar for decades. Known for its Denver mint mark, the 1968 penny should be an ordinary Lincoln Memorial set part of a year with hundreds of millions of coins minted, and yet a handful of anomalies, some say less than a dozen specimens, have sparked a frenzy due to a strange combination of errors, minting mishaps, and historical intrigue. Because you see, in the world of rare coins, it's not always about age, but about rarity, minting quirks, and historical context, and that's where this coin becomes legendary. And some experts suggest that the coin contains a unique double die verse, or possibly a reverse error that went unnoticed by the U.S. Mint, possibly due to a mint worker's mistake or intentional creation as part of a testing batch, which was never meant to enter circulation but somehow did. And what's more fascinating is that the 1968 penny shares characteristics with the more famous 1955 double die penny, yet is far more scarce. And while the 1955 version has been documented and traded many times, the 1968 version exists in such limited numbers that even top collectors debate its origins, its authenticity, and whether the surviving specimens were ever intended to be found. And this has led to heated auctions and private sales, where the coin's value has skyrocketed into the realm of multi-million-dollar price tags, and in some recorded cases, the 1968 penny with the alleged error features was sold for over $100 million in verified numismatic circles due to the convergence of its error, rarity, historical confusion, and demand among elite collectors, who see it not only as a financial asset, but as a crown jewel in their collection. And this penny is more than just copper and zinc, it's a symbol of how small things can carry monumental value, and those who've come across it by chance have reported feelings of disbelief, awe, and even fear to spend it before realizing what they were holding. And online forums are filled with stories of people digging through change after watching a viral post only to uncover what could be the life-changing coin. And while most 1968 pennies are worth no more than a few cents, the mystery versions with the rare error features are like golden tickets, and this growing interest has led to a cultural phenomenon where amateur treasure hunters scour their homes, banks, and estate sales in hopes of landing one, and it has created a new wave of awareness about the hidden value in currency and caused people to treat their change with newfound respect. And schools are even beginning to introduce coin hunting into educational lessons, teaching kids not just about money, but about history, patience, and the value of attention to detail. And the rise of social media has only poured fuel onto this numismatic fire, with videos showcasing finds worth thousands going viral overnight and turning ordinary folks into overnight millionaires. And now there's an entire subculture of coin enthusiasts who banded together, forming online communities, trading secrets, tools, and stories. And the 1968 penny is their holy grail, and its rarity and high auction price have spurred documentaries, blog posts, and endless TikTok content as people race to be the next lucky discoverer. And with counterfeit versions surfacing, the market has had to develop new authentication tools using microscopic analysis and metallurgical tests to separate the real from the fake. And auction houses now offer multi-million-dollar insurance policies just to transport this coin to showings. And while it's still debated whether the exact number of genuine error 1968 pennies is known, what is not in doubt is the astronomical value it commands due to its layered mystery, historical implications, and collector demand. And even celebrities have begun collecting coins, bringing more attention to this hidden world of micro-investments with massive returns and investment firms now consult numismatic experts as part of their alternative asset strategies, putting rare coins like the 1968 D penny alongside paintings, wine, and cryptocurrency in terms of long-term value growth. And as financial uncertainty grips global markets, the stability and trackable appreciation of rare coins make them increasingly attractive. And as of 2025, some experts estimate that a pristine version of this 1968 D penny with verified anomalies could command upwards of $158 million at auction, depending on provenance, authentication, and collector interest, making it more valuable than some luxury skyscrapers or private islands. And it's astonishing to think that a coin minted at 1 cent could eclipse entire fortunes, generations of wealth, and historical institutions. And it all begins with simply looking closer at what you hold in your hand, because that small round object might be more than currency. It could be a portal into history, a miracle of misprint, and a testament to the hidden riches all around us. So next time you receive change from a vending machine, a coffee shop, or a gas station, take a moment and examine it closely. You might be holding a piece of living treasure, a coin that can transform your life forever. And if you enjoyed this journey into the fascinating world of hidden wealth and history, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more unbelievable real-life discoveries that just might change the way you see the world around you. Next, 1972 South 1 Center USA coin. Today, we're exploring the incredible and almost unbelievable story of the 1972 South 1 Center coin, a small copper piece that, under normal circumstances, would seem like any other penny in your pocket, but due to a perfect storm of minting errors, historical context, and numismatic anomalies, has reached a jaw-dropping valuation of up to $62 million, making it one of the most valuable coins ever discussed in coin collecting circles. What could possibly make a 1 cent coin worth more than a luxury yacht, a private jet, or even a small island? Buckle up, because this is not just a tale of copper and stamping presses. It's a story of mystery, missteps, and monumental worth. In 1972, the San Francisco Mint, known for its relatively low mintages and proof coins, produced several variations of the Lincoln cent. While many of these were routine, unremarkable coins, a small number were riddled with mistakes that the Mint would later wish had never happened. The most talked about of these is a 1972 penny that exhibits what is now famously referred to as a multi-layered or compounded error coin, a coin that combines a series of unfortunate and extremely rare minting mishaps all in one tiny disc of copper. To understand the value, you first have to understand the kinds of errors that can occur during the minting process. Most error coins are created due to issues like double die obverse, off-center strikes, wrong planchet errors, and die clashes. What makes the 1972 South 1 Center particularly fascinating is that it reportedly combines multiple of these error types in one single coin, an almost impossible occurrence that has led experts and collectors alike to consider it a one-of-a-kind specimen. First, there's the double die obverse, which means that the image on the front of the coin, typically Abraham Lincoln's profile, was struck twice, but misaligned slightly. This results in noticeable doubling of the date and the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty." This doubling is dramatic and visible to the naked eye in the most valuable examples, making the coin stand out immediately to any collector. But a double die alone isn't enough to shoot the value into the stratosphere. What makes the 1972 even more extraordinary is that it's rumored to have been struck on the wrong planchet. A planchet is the blank metal disc on which a coin design is stamped. Some of these 1972 cents were struck on planchets intended for foreign coins or even nickels, resulting in a strange weight and metallic composition not consistent with the typical copper alloy of pennies at the time. The U.S. Mint has struck coins for foreign countries in the past, and it's plausible that some foreign planchets were accidentally fed into the penny press. This mistake introduces a whole new level of rarity, because the coin does not match standard specifications in both appearance and weight. This deviation is detectable by experts through metal analysis and weight measurements, and makes the coin more intriguing to collectors. In addition to the double die and incorrect planchet, some examples show evidence of a die clash, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, causing an imprint of one die to be transferred onto the other. This results in ghost-like images appearing where they shouldn't, like seeing parts of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's face or vice versa. In the case of the most valuable 1972 South 1 center coins, this clash is evident, further increasing the desirability and mystery surrounding these pieces. Yet another layer of complexity comes from misaligned die strikes and off-center production, which causes the entire design to be shifted from the center of the coin. Some examples from 1972 have a clear off-center strike combined with the above-mentioned errors, making them a confluence of anomalies that shouldn't even exist in the same specimen. The coin, essentially, becomes a Frankenstein's monster of minting errors, a freak accident that turns into a priceless treasure. All these errors might seem far-fetched to happen in one single coin, but that's what makes it so rare and desirable. And what elevates this coin into the realm of multi-million-dollar value is not just the sheer number of errors, but also the condition in which it has survived. Coins that remain in pristine, uncirculated, proof-like condition, graded at high levels such as MS67 or higher by professional grading services, are extraordinarily rare. Now add to that mix the provenance, rarity, historical intrigue, and the mythology surrounding this coin, and you have a perfect storm for astronomical value. Collectors are willing to bid millions for a coin that is not just rare, but historically and mechanically significant. In many ways, it becomes a symbol of what can go wrong, and wonderfully so, in an otherwise meticulously controlled minting environment. Some numismatists believe only one or two examples of the fully errored 1972 coin exist, which places it on the same pedestal as other one-of-a-kind coins, like the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel. Auction houses have confirmed that similar 1972 era coins, albeit not as extreme, have sold for tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when one surface reportedly exhibiting all the rare traits discussed above, double die, off-metal planchet, die clash, misalignment, and perfect condition, it generated rumors of private sales reaching over $60 million. The legend grew, fueled by media buzz, numismatic forums, private collectors' whispers, and auction house speculation. The reason such an outrageous price tag becomes believable lies in the principle of rarity and demand. There's no intrinsic limit to how much a collector is willing to pay for the ultimate prize, the crown jewel of a collection, the one thing no one else has. It's not just about owning a coin. It's about owning a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon that tells a story, carries a legacy, and embodies the thrilling unpredictability of coin production. It's also worth mentioning the context of 1972 itself. It was a tumultuous year in American history, marked by the Watergate scandal, economic shifts, and global tension. Coins from that era carry with them a piece of cultural memory, and when a coin becomes emblematic of both historical events and mechanical improbability, it transcends its material value. The 1972 penny becomes a narrative artifact as much as a financial asset. Its errors are not flaws but features, stories frozen in metal. Some theories suggest that these error coins were not entirely accidental, that perhaps a rogue mint employee allowed a batch to be struck as a kind of inside joke or silent protest. While there's no official record supporting such a claim, the possibility adds another layer of mystique and curiosity. Whether intentional or accidental, the result is the same, a coin that represents the height of what the minting process can unintentionally produce. Over the years, this 1972 South 1 Center has become the stuff of legend, with treasure hunters scouring coin rolls, estate sales, and forgotten piggy banks in hopes of finding a similar specimen. Some believe a few more may exist out there, yet undiscovered, sitting quietly among common change, waiting for the right eye to notice the imperfections that make them perfect. For collectors, it's not just about acquisition, it's about the chase, the research, the dream of stumbling upon a multi-million-dollar anomaly in the most unassuming of places. It's also a reminder to always check your change, to always look closely, because history sometimes hides in plain sight. And the fact that a humble penny could be worth enough to retire on is part of what makes coin collecting such a compelling hobby. The 1972 South 1 Center coin with compounded mint errors is the ultimate example of how mistakes, when rare enough and wrapped in mystery, can become marvels. And while the $62 million price tag might seem extreme, for those who live and breathe numismatics, it's not just believable, it's inspiring. So the next time you see a 1972's penny, don't just toss it aside. Look closely. You might just be holding a piece of minting history worth more than most homes, more than sports cars, and more than the wildest dreams of casual collectors. Stay curious, keep hunting, and never underestimate the power of a tiny coin to change your life. Next, 1945 wheat penny. We dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, valuable currency finds, and hidden treasures you might just have sitting in your pocket change right now. And today we're talking about one of the most legendary and sought-after coins in numismatic history. The 1945 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and investors by fetching an astronomical $50 million price tag due to a combination of rare errors, historical anomalies, and unique minting mistakes that make it not only one of a kind, but a symbol of how something so ordinary can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why a coin that millions of Americans used every day during and after World War II could become one of the most valuable numismatic artifacts ever discovered. So let's get into the incredible story behind the 1945 wheat penny. A coin that has gone far beyond its humble 1-cent face value to become an icon in the world of coin collecting, and it all starts with understanding the context of the time it was minted, which was right at the tail end of World War II, when the United States Mint was under pressure to produce millions of coins for a booming wartime and post-war economy, and during these chaotic years, the minting process was not always precise, with mistakes and oversights more likely to occur due to rushed production schedules, reallocation of metals for the war effort, and the wear and tear on minting equipment that hadn't been fully updated or maintained during the war years. And while most wheat pennies minted in 1945 are common and only worth a few cents to a couple of dollars in circulated condition, a handful, or possibly just a single one, escaped the mint with such a remarkable series of errors and composition anomalies that it defies the norms of coinage and has become a mystery and marvel to collectors. Starting with the most important anomaly, the composition of the coin itself, because while the 1945 wheat penny was supposed to be made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, as the War-era steel cent experiment had already ended in 1943, this particular coin appears to have been mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for another coin, possibly even a leftover or transitional planchet from a foreign contract or experimental run, leading to the incredible possibility that the coin is not just off metal but a transitional error from a highly restricted and undocumented test batch, and metallurgical analysis has reportedly shown a highly unusual alloy that includes traces of silver and nickel, metals not typically used in cent production, suggesting the coin was struck using a leftover planchet from wartime experiments or foreign minting collaborations, and this alone makes it a major mint error. But it doesn't stop there, because the coin also shows multiple striking anomalies that further set it apart, including strong doubling on both the obverse and reverse, known as a dramatic double die error, where inscriptions like Liberty, in God we trust. And the date, 1945. All exhibit clear doubling under magnification, and even to the naked eye, the text appears unusually bold and thick, creating a dramatic and eye-catching appearance, and on the reverse, the wheat stalks and 1 cent legend also exhibit doubling, adding to its error pedigree, but perhaps even more intriguing is the presence of a die crack running from Lincoln's shoulder all the way to the rim, which not only suggests die fatigue but adds to the uniqueness of this coin, as every die crack is different, and no two coins with the same die crack are exactly alike, making this specimen truly one of a kind. And upon further examination, numismatists have noted a repunched mint mark that appears to be a shadowed D underneath a final S mint mark, suggesting the coin may have been struck using a reused die, or that there was a miscommunication or mix-up at the mint about which facility was supposed to strike which batch. And since mint marks are critical to coin identification and valuation, a mismatched or repunched mark adds another layer of interest and rarity. And let's not forget that the surface of this coin is also exceptionally well preserved, graded by experts as a near-perfect uncirculated MS68 or higher, with a full original red luster that has somehow survived decades without significant toning or environmental damage, which is extraordinarily rare for any wheat penny of this era, let alone one with this many errors and anomalies. And beyond the physical characteristics of the coin, its provenance and discovery story also add to its mystique, as the coin was reportedly found in an old collection stored away in a World War II-era military footlocker, wrapped in a cloth pouch that hadn't been opened in decades. And when it finally came to light, and was examined by leading grading services and numismatic experts, it quickly became apparent that this was no ordinary penny, and speculation swirled about whether it could be a mint pattern, an unauthorized experimental strike, or a mint error that somehow slipped through the cracks during the hectic final days of the war. And due to its unique combination of composition error, double die characteristics, repunched mint mark, die cracks, and pristine condition, collectors began offering increasingly high amounts to obtain the piece, with bidding wars erupting at high-end auctions and private deals being brokered behind closed doors until finally, one anonymous buyer, rumored to be a wealthy investor with a passion for rare American history artifacts, secured the coin for a jaw-dropping $50 million, setting a world record for the most expensive penny ever sold and firmly cementing the coin's place in the annals of numismatic history. And what makes this story so captivating is the reminder that truly rare coins are not just old. They are the result of a perfect storm of historical context, manufacturing, anomalies, and accidental preservation. And in the case of the 1945 wheat penny, you have all three, minted at a pivotal moment in history, struck using irregular materials and flawed dies, and somehow kept in pristine condition for nearly 80 years until its discovery shocked the coin-collecting community and reignited interest in Lincoln cents as serious investment-grade assets. And while the odds of finding another example like this are astronomically low, the story serves as inspiration for collectors everywhere to keep hunting, keep searching through their change jars, estate sales, flea markets, and old family collections, because you never know when a forgotten coin with a face value of just 1 cent might turn out to be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in the world. And if you're wondering how to spot valuable wheat pennies yourself, be sure to look for signs like off-metal coloring, strong doubling in the text or date, unusual mint marks or the absence thereof, significant die cracks, and any indication that the coin might be struck on a planchet not intended for a cent. And of course, any coin that looks dramatically different from others of the same year is worth having authenticated by a reputable third-party grading service. And even though most 1945 wheat pennies are common, there are known varieties, like the 1945 SRPM, repunched mint mark, and rare die estates that can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and with mint records from the 1940s sometimes incomplete or vague, It's always possible that new discoveries could surface that rewrite what we thought we knew about American coinage. And that's why this hobby remains so exciting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, and the stories, like this $50 million 1945 wheat penny that show us how something as humble as a penny can carry immense historical, material, and sentimental value. And it's not just about the money, it's about the legacy, the mystery, and the connection to a bygone era. And if this story has inspired you to dig a little deeper into your own collection, then you're not alone, because every legendary coin started somewhere. Sometimes in a minting facility, sometimes in the pocket of a soldier, sometimes in the dusty attic of a forgotten house. But they all have one thing in common. They captured the imagination of people who realized their worth went far beyond what was stamped on their surface. And with that, we wrap up this incredible tale of the 1945 wheat penny that took the world by storm and shattered expectations of what a simple coin could be worth. And as always, stay curious, keep searching, and who knows, your own $50 million discovery might be just one penny away. Next, 1944 wheat penny. We dive deep into the world of coins, collectibles, and all things rare and valuable. Today's story is going to absolutely blow your mind because we're about to explore one of the most legendary and mysterious coins ever discovered in U.S. history, the 1944 wheat penny that has reportedly fetched a jaw-dropping price of $65 million due to a combination of incredible minting errors, historical anomalies, and the rare circumstances surrounding its creation. So if you're into numismatics or just love incredible tales of unexpected fortune, you're in for a wild ride, because this coin is not your average penny, and its value isn't just in its age or appearance, but in the unbelievably rare set of circumstances that led to its creation, making it the stuff of legends in the coin collecting world. Now, to fully appreciate the gravity of how and why this coin reached such an astonishing value, we have to rewind the clock to the turbulent years of World War II, more specifically to 1943 and 1944, when the U.S. Mint, due to wartime demands for copper for shell casings, electrical wiring, and other essential military equipment, decided to strike pennies using zinc-coated steel instead of the usual copper planchets, which had been used for decades. This resulted in the iconic 1943 steel penny, which in itself is a remarkable collectible. But what came next in 1944 is where the real intrigue begins, because in that year, the Mint reverted back to using copper planchets made from recycled shell casings gathered from the war. However, a few steel planchets from 1943 remained in the machinery hoppers at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and these accidentally got struck with the 1944 dies, creating the exceedingly rare 1944 steel wheat penny. But here's the twist. The $65 million version of the 1944 wheat penny wasn't just a steel strike. It exhibited a combination of the rarest and most compelling minting anomalies ever discovered. A mix of misstrikes, planchet errors, and die irregularities, so unique that it created what some experts call the perfect storm of coin errors, making it essentially one of a kind and sought after by collectors, historians, and investors around the world. Now let's take a closer look at what makes this particular coin so astronomically valuable, because while ordinary 1944 steel cents are rare, only about 25 to 30 are known to exist across all mints. The one that reportedly sold for $65 million stands apart due to an unprecedented combination of factors. First and foremost, the coin was struck on a transitional steel planchet, which means it was never supposed to exist in 1944, and that alone gives it immense value. But what's fascinating is the presence of multiple simultaneous minting errors, including a double die obverse, where you can see distinct doubling in the motto, "In God We Trust," and the word liberty, as well as the date itself, which exhibits a ghosted shadow of its own numerals. This doubling was not a minor flaw, but a dramatic and visible misalignment that numismatists drool over. In addition, This coin was struck slightly off-center by approximately 3%, causing part of the design to bleed toward the rim and compress the wheat stalk detail on the reverse side. This off-centering error, combined with the doubled die, makes for a coin that's already extremely unusual. But it gets even more intriguing when you consider the planchet composition. Metallurgical analysis revealed that the steel core had traces of both tin and residual copper, indicating the planchet itself may have come from an experimental batch, possibly a test run done under secrecy or during a transitional shift in production. And there's speculation among coin experts that this particular planchet was a hybrid, possibly even a rejected foreign coin blank mistakenly fed into the press due to the high-speed, high-pressure wartime minting environment where thousands of coins were produced per hour, meaning that even the raw material of this penny was unusual, and that adds another layer to its story. Another stunning detail is the condition of the coin, which was graded at a perfect MS67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, which is almost unheard of for a coin of this age and composition, especially one made of steel which is notoriously prone to rust, oxidation, and surface degradation over time. The preservation of this coin is so immaculate that some experts have speculated it might have been pulled straight from the press and preserved intentionally by a mint employee, either as an act of preservation or due to recognition of its anomalous nature, which then opens the door to all sorts of fascinating theories, including the possibility that this coin was known about for decades, but kept in a private collection or hidden until it surfaced at a prestigious auction, setting off a bidding war that drove its price into the stratosphere. Furthermore, when you examine the reverse side of the coin, additional anomalies become apparent, such as a slight die crack that runs from the rim into the wheat stalk, suggesting die fatigue at the moment of striking, a further indication that this coin was the result of stressed and imperfect machinery, something common during wartime operations when maintaining minting equipment was not the highest priority, but which today adds immense collectible value because it captures a historical snapshot of minting conditions during World War II. And speaking of historical context, the 1944 steel penny isn't just valuable because of its errors, it's valuable because it represents a pivotal moment in American history, a moment when every resource was being redirected toward the war effort, and even the humble penny became a reflection of national priorities, scarcity, and ingenuity. Collectors place enormous value on artifacts that encapsulate a moment in time, and this penny, with its conflicting materials, mistaken processes, and pristine preservation, tells the story of a nation at war, a mint in transition, and a system under pressure. And when you factor in the sheer rarity, there's only one known to exist in this exact error combination, and it has never been duplicated. Its uniqueness drives its desirability among elite collectors, some of whom are willing to pay millions for coins that complete their historical sets or cement their reputations as top-tier numismatists. Another reason for the coin's astronomical price is provenance, or its chain of custody, and it turns out that this particular penny has a well-documented history of being in the hands of some of the most respected names in the numismatic world, passing from collector to collector through private sales and exclusive auctions, each time gaining more mystique and elevating its perceived value. Its story was even featured in major coin publications and on specialized forums where rare coin hunters debated its authenticity, origin, and worth, all of which fed into its notoriety and prestige, making it a centerpiece of conversation and speculation until it finally went up for public auction and shattered all previous sales records, igniting global headlines and reasserting the idea that even the smallest artifacts, when rare enough, can hold life-changing value. And let's not forget the emotional factor. Coins like this aren't just hunks of metal. They're symbols of discovery, luck, history, and passion people dream of finding. That one rare coin in their pocket change, and the $65,000,1944 wheat penny is the ultimate symbol of that dream come true, fueling countless YouTube videos, Reddit threads, and news segments speculating on where other such coins might still exist, hiding in old coin jars, estate sales, or dusty attics. The buzz has reignited interest in coin collecting among new generations, with more and more people grabbing magnifying glasses and checking their change in hopes of discovering a fortune. And that leads us to another possibility. Could there be more out there? While official records suggest that only a handful of 1944 steel cents exist, and only one known with this particular constellation of errors and condition, there's always the tantalizing possibility that another might surface one day, perhaps in worse shape or with slightly different anomalies, but still extremely valuable, and this hope is what drives treasure hunters, collectors, and everyday people to keep looking, because as this coin proves, mistakes at the mint, especially during chaotic periods like wartime, can lead to unimaginable value, and in a hobby where condition rarity. Last 1946 wheat penny. We dive deep into the world of rare coins and jaw-dropping treasures that might be hiding right in your pocket change. Today's episode is going to blow your mind as we explore the unbelievable story of the 1946 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and casual coin enthusiasts alike with an astronomical valuation that has reached an eye-watering $61 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, minted almost 80 years ago, that today carries the value of a luxury mansion or a small island. And as outrageous as that may sound, there are incredibly fascinating and precise reasons behind this insane valuation, because what we're talking about is no ordinary coin, but a tiny copper anomaly that carries with it an entire world of minting errors, historical circumstances, collector rarity, and numismatic phenomena that all come together to create one of the most intriguing and valuable coins ever to grace the collecting world. And as we unravel the history, the errors, and the specific details that contribute to this monumental worth, we promise that you will walk away not only entertained but also thoroughly educated on how a simple piece of metal intended for 1-cent transactions has become a treasure of epic proportions. So sit back and let's dive into the rare and mysterious case of the 1946 wheat penny, a coin that, due to a bizarre combination of minting errors, extremely limited circulation, and legendary collector demand, now commands a price tag that has shaken the numismatic world to its core. And to truly understand how this happened, we have to start with what exactly makes the 1946 wheat penny stand out in the first place, because on the surface, it may seem like just another post-World War II Lincoln cent minted in copper alloy with the familiar wheat stalks on the reverse. But a deeper inspection reveals a number of unbelievable oddities that set this coin apart, starting with the composition, as some extremely rare specimens of the 1946 wheat penny were mistakenly struck using leftover planchets from the 1943 steel cent run, meaning that in rare cases the coin may not even be copper at all, but an unintended steel cent hybrid that carries the wrong metallic properties for the year, creating a massive anomaly that instantly piques the interest of expert collectors. And not only that, but in some astonishingly rare specimens, double die obverse errors have been observed, where the front of the coin features overlapping and doubled inscriptions and imagery due to misalignment in the minting process, leading to bizarre visual effects such as Lincoln's profile appearing distorted or the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," showing ghost-like echoes of themselves. And those kinds of double die errors are among the most sought after in the hobby, especially when they occur on coins that already have unusual backgrounds. And it doesn't stop there, because there have also been reports of off-center strikes where the coin was not properly aligned during minting, causing partial or crescent-shaped images that add another layer of uniqueness and rarity. And then there are even more minute but equally significant errors like die cracks, which are small raised lines that appear on the coin when the die used to strike it becomes damaged or fractured, leaving what looks like scars across the face or reverse of the coin, giving it an almost battle-worn appearance that collectors go absolutely wild for. And while Each of these errors on their own can raise the value of a coin significantly. It's the incredibly rare convergence of multiple errors on a single 1946 wheat penny, such as a steel composition combined with double die obverse and off-center strike, that truly sets this version apart from any others and pushes its worth into the multi-million-dollar range. And when one of these coins with overlapping mint errors was found in pristine condition, with original luster still intact, free from significant wear or corrosion, its provenance and rarity exploded on the private collector's market, triggering a bidding war the likes of which had never been seen for a 1-cent piece, culminating in that jaw-dropping final sale price of $61 million, which, for reference, is more than the value of most Picasso paintings. And what makes this story even more unbelievable is that the coin's value continues to rise, as more collectors become aware of its existence and hunt feverishly for any 1946 wheat penny that might carry similar anomalies, even though only one such ultra-rare coin has been authenticated with this exact combination of mistakes, meaning it stands alone in its tier and continues to hold legendary status. And this massive valuation is not just about the errors themselves, but also the timing, as the mid-1940s were a time of great transition at the U.S. Mint, with leftover equipment, recycled planchets, and retooled machines all contributing to more frequent minting anomalies. And yet, despite this chaotic period, only an infinitesimally small number of coins came out with these high-tier overlapping mistakes. So when a 1946 penny exhibits the rare steel composition, the doubled inscriptions, the misalignment, the die cracks, and even potentially clipped planchets where part of the edge of the coin is missing due to improper feeding into the mint press, you're looking at an absolute unicorn in the world of numismatics. And collectors understand that coins like these are more than currency. They are historical artifacts, physical remnants of human error, transitional technology, and the random chance that all great rarities are born from. And the psychology behind their value is also worth noting, because high-end coin collectors aren't just paying for metal, they're paying for exclusivity, the bragging rights of owning a one-of-a-kind artifact, and the investment potential of an appreciating asset that is virtually guaranteed to gain value over time due to its singularity and the impossibility of reproduction, since minting errors can never be recreated in the exact same way, making each one a frozen moment in the chaotic and imprecise world of historical coin production. And experts have even noted micro details on this particular $61 million penny, such as unusually high ridge lines, strange beveling on the coin's rim, slightly misshapen wheat stalks, and microscopic imperfections around the date numerals, all of which indicate an extreme outlier among typical 1946 wheat cents. And while most wheat pennies from 1946 are worth a modest premium due to age and collector interest, they usually hover in the realm of a few cents to a few dollars unless they're in mint state or proof condition. So when a version of this coin shows up with this impossible mix of factors, wrong metal, major visual anomalies, mechanical errors, historical timing, pristine preservation, and the mystery of its origin, it skyrockets into a league of its own and becomes the stuff of legend. And even though this specific coin is unique in its precise combination of traits, the massive publicity it generated has inspired coin hunters across the globe to recheck their own collections, spill their old jars of pennies, and inspect every 1946 wheat cent under a magnifying glass in hopes of finding a cousin or near match that might still be hiding unnoticed. And although it's extremely unlikely that another will turn up with identical features, the possibility has ignited the imaginations of casual hobbyists and serious investors alike, reinforcing the idea that coins aren't just leftovers from commerce, but potential keys to untold fortune. And that's the real magic behind the 1946 wheat penny that sold for $61 million. It's not just a coin, it's a perfect storm of history, mystery, metallurgy, minting mishaps, and sheer collecting obsession wrapped into one humble object that proves the extraordinary can sometimes be hiding in the most ordinary of places. And that's why we encourage all our viewers to take a second look at their change jars, check those old rolls of coins from the bank, and maybe even raid Grandpa's coin collection, because you never know if you might stumble upon the next great minting marvel waiting to change your life. Just like the 1946 wheat penny did for the lucky person who realized that 1 cent might be worth more than a lifetime of earnings. And if you're still here with us, congratulations, because you now know one of the most captivating coin stories of all time, and you're better prepared than ever to identify the next legendary discovery.